The Pearl Bryan murder of 1896. Forgotten American crimes. On a cold morning in February of 1896, a farmer walking near the outskirts of Fort Thomas made a discovery that would shock the entire nation. In a frozen field just across the Ohio River from Cincinnati lay the body of a young woman. She had no identification, no coat, no shoes. And one horrifying detail made the crime instantly unforgettable. Her head was missing. For days, newspapers referred to her as the girl without a head. It would take weeks before the victim was identified. Her name was Pearl Bryan. She was 22 years old. The late 19th century was a time of contradictions. America was modernizing, cities were growing, but morality remained rigid. For young women, reputation was everything. A single mistake could destroy a life. And Pearl Bryan was about to be caught between secrecy, shame, and fear in a society that offered no mercy. Who was Pearl Bryan? Pearl Bryan came from a respectable farming family in Indiana. She was described as quiet, polite, well-liked. In 1895, she traveled to Cincinnati under the promise of medical treatment. Very few people knew the real reason for her journey. Pearl was pregnant, and in the 1890s, that secret could ruin everything. The men in her life. Two men would soon become central to the case, Scott Jackson and Alonzo Walling. Jackson was a dental student. Walling was his roommate. Pearl had known Jackson previously. She believed he could help her quietly, discreetly, without involving her family. What exactly was planned remains disputed, but Pearl was last seen alive in their company. Like and subscribe. Stories like this were never meant to be forgotten. For more unsolved American crimes and historical mysteries, consider subscribing to the channel. The disappearance. On January 31st, 1896, Pearl left her boarding house in Cincinnati. She told others she was meeting someone. She never returned. Days later, her body was found in Kentucky, deliberately hidden, frozen, and mutilated. The brutality shocked the public. But what haunted investigators most was what was missing. The missing head. Despite extensive searches, Pearl Bryan's head was never recovered. Authorities believed it had been removed intentionally, possibly to prevent identification. That detail transformed the case from a murder into a national obsession. Newspapers printed daily updates. Crowds followed every development. Speculation ran wild. Arrests and confessions. Suspicion quickly focused on Jackson and Walling. Witnesses placed Pearl with them. Evidence tied them to the area. Both men accused each other. Both denied responsibility. And both refused to reveal the location of Pearl's head. Their silence became the most chilling part of the case. The trial of the century. The trial drew massive crowds. The courtroom overflowed. Prosecutors argued that Pearl had been murdered during a failed abortion. The defense denied everything, but the jury was unconvinced. Both men were found guilty. They were sentenced to death. Execution and final silence. In 1897, Jackson and Walling were executed. Until the very end, authorities hoped one of them would speak, that Pearl's head would be returned. It never was. Both men went to their deaths without revealing the final truth. Legacy of the case. Pearl Bryan was buried without her head. Her family never received full closure. To this day, the question remains: why was her head never found? Was the full truth ever told? Or did it die on the gallows? A name remembered. Pearl Bryan was more than a headline. She was a daughter, a sister, a young woman trapped by secrecy and fear. Her murder remains one of America's most disturbing 19th century crimes. This was a forgotten American crime, and history still hasn't told the whole story.